with all due respect.
Hey, we're Josh Ortegon and Greg Gaines, and this is With All Due Respect, the show where we keep it real about health, fitness, and performance. From weight loss to sports development, we're covering the conversations that matter.
Follow us on Instagram at Phenom Fitness, PHNM Fitness, and visit www.phenomfit.com to check out our training programs, coaching, and gear built for real results. Let's get into it.
All right, guys, with all due respect, we got Matt Vincent. And guys, we decided that we're just going to go live because, in my theory, is if you know it all about Matt Vincent, you should be able to hold a conversation for 45 minutes to an hour with this dude, or else you're brain dead. Right?
Yeah, I could probably just talk straight for that long. I have a tendency. I don't know that I've quit talking since I was about 4.
Yeah. So I don't see this was a call when we're doing it. I was like, man, maybe because sometimes with people we put together oh, let's talk about these things. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna miss the authenticity of who Matt Vincent is.
Yeah. If we end up in the same route of, hey man, can you explain the Highland Games? Well, I haven't done it in 10 years, but if you really like, I mean, that's a pretty easy Google search for a thing I haven't done in a decade.
Yeah. And I feel like the best thing about a conversation with Matt Vincent might be the authenticity of catching what's going on in Matt Vincent's brain at 8:42 Eastern on a Tuesday morning. And if I miss that, then it might not be cool.
I'm currently trying to solve problems.
Yeah. What problem? Tell me about solving problems.
Which is what I really think the only job of entrepreneurship is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's overall what kind of the deal of life is. One of the things I've been reading lately is Albert Camus, if you're familiar with him, French guy.
Yep. Stranger.
Kind of along the lines of Nietzsche, talking about absurdism. And the book I'm currently reading is The Myth of Sisyphus.
Okay.
And so what he talks about in there is this absurdism concept. But so with absurdism, you have to imagine Sisyphus happy. That Sisyphus has to push this boulder up the hill for eternity. And so what it breaks it down to is Sisyphus doesn't get a choice whether or not he has to push a boulder.
Mm-hmm.
His choice of the energy and decision he makes of his purpose of why he chooses the boulder is individually his.
Oh, Lord.
But the boulder has to be pushed. And that's kind of the deal I look at a lot of health and fitness. It's the way I look at building my business. These are all boulders that need to be pushed. Not only that, boulders I've chosen.
So he's looking at the purpose of why, right? Very the name escapes me. But the guy that was in the concentration camp that wrote a bunch of books. I can't remember.
There's a bunch of those. I'm not sure I know the specific one. I kind of found my way to this through I pretty naturally lean toward Nietzsche and nihilism. It's kind of a universal philosophy for myself. And then kind of as I make my way down the ladder of applying it to the individual level, it becomes more absurdist. Mm. So
do you consider entrepreneur? So if I go back, and I was thinking about that, I always think about, for some reason, the shower is where I do my most thinking. I don't know why. I guess it's the time.
Because you have no distractions in the shower.
Right? You're just in there, the hits you, and you're by yourself. And I'm like, man, what's my history with Matt Vincent like? I'm like, well, I watched him do a Turkish get-up with a human being once.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of fun internet shit before there was a way to get popular about doing things like that.
Yeah, I watched him squat good close to 800 and 700. And then I watched the Highland Games, right? I watched the brands. I was really engaged during the surgeries, right? Because I was just like, oh man, how's this dude going to come out on the back end of that? Right. And I was like, and then I saw the hate brand, and then Not Dead Yet, and then what really tuned me back in was minimum effective dose.
Yeah, it's a great concept.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. Like, Tim Ferriss, 4 Hour Work Week was what got me into the minimum effective dose. Like at the time when I read it, I wasn't ready to read it. It was like 2008 or 9, and I was like, I just wasn't ready to read. Like, I just emotionally, mentally, mature wise, I was looking for I thought the 4 Hour Work Week was a way to keep the system and
I ain't trying to work less. I remember having friends tell me that, had never read the book, and they were like, "What do you mean? I ain't trying to work less." I'm like, "Right on, man."
Yeah, and I'm like, and then I heard it somewhere, and dude, literally 3 days later, something of yours popped up on the show on your stuff, and you used the word minimum effective dose. I'm not trying to get weird, but something spoke to me that I was kind of leaning towards some of that. Then you brought it up, and then you did the webinar.
Mm-hmm.
And the webinar was at 8:30 my time. I planned my whole day around it. And dude, at 8:30, I was tired. I didn't want to, not shitting you, bro.
Yeah, that's how I feel at 8:30.
I didn't want to, man, I'll just catch something else about it later on. And I
already get it.
I was like, no, I got to get on it. I told myself I was going to do it. I'm going to be disappointed in myself if I don't do it. There's a reason I get on it for one nugget. And I jumped on it and I just observed. I just listened.
Mm-hmm.
I popped in, I listened, and I heard you talking to people who were like, I bought this workout, I bought this thing, I just got to get off my butt and do it. People talking about extreme, well, if I can't go 1 million miles an hour, then why do I even do it? That spoke to me so much about, and since then I've had conversations with people about minimum effective dose. And I guess my question is to you, as I've watched you go through business, brands, travel, reinventing yourself. When I think about Matt Vincent, I really think about you've reinvented yourself multiple times in what I've experienced. The knee surgeries myself, and to most people, would put people down.
Yeah.
How many? 5?
9.
No.
That's insane.
9 knee surgeries
in about a 3-year window.
9 in 3 years.
Yeah.
Being the best in the world. Dude, not many people can say they're the best in the world at something. Right? From being the best in the world to knee surgeries taking you out to reinventing yourself. Have you always been a minimum effective dose guy through that whole process? What happened?
No. You don't figure a lot of that out until you get put in the corner and have to figure it out. Around training wise, I did always understand that consistency is going to win long term, right? That if I don't show up, I'm not showing up. And for me as an athlete, man, I don't mind getting beaten by a better. Mm-hmm. But I'd be damned that I lose because I didn't prepare. And so, I got to train. That's the deal. And, that's how I always felt about it. As I got older and trying to, have those days of, I can remember feeling that around, well, I don't have time to get it all the way in. And so you skip. Well, I don't have the 70, 90 straight minutes to do the workout like I preferred, or go throw in the field for 2 hours or whatever it would be. So, well, what's the least I can do? What's the least I can do that is still on path with who I want to be? With what I'm telling the universe I'm interested in. Mm. And as sport got taken away from me, well, does that rule still apply? And goes to figure out it does. It works for my business. It works for me working on me. It works for my diet. It works for how I speak to myself. It works for any of my practices. I mean, including the way I look at supplementation and drugs, if I consider both those the same thing.
Yeah.
Am I taking chemicals to change how I perform?
Yeah.
Great. That's coffee to testosterone. I don't understand the difference.
No, yeah. My next question was, you answered it. How have you applied that to entrepreneurship? How have you applied that to your business? As you've reinvented the paths you've gone in yourself, that minimum effective dose still applies to your business. I mean, does it apply to relationships, personal life?
It applies to everything.
Yeah.
Like I look at it as applies to everything. It's definitely better than just the all or nothing approach, right? Like, man, some days you just don't have it. And that's the deal. And instead of me beating myself up for that any longer, I just do what I can that's on path with who I want to be, instead of on path with doing nothing, which is who I don't want to be. And thank myself with gratitude practice or anything else around it. Like, if I don't do it on the, like, as an entrepreneur, I have what I would call an infinite amount of things to solve. Like, I'm never going to finish the list of shit that's going to help my business grow. So, one, stressing myself out like I'm trying to get to the end of the list is stupid.
Oh, God, dog.
It ain't never coming.
That's
operating out of that scarcity gap mindset around, well, once I get X, I can do Y. Once we get over 5K a month, I can relax. Once I get over 50K a month, I can relax. Once I sell this, or I create the next thing, or I finish this chapter, it's all bullshit. There's no destination.
I do that, bro. I do that.
Same.
Yeah, I do that. Yeah.
Same, and I know better.
Yeah, once I get here, once I accomplish this, I'll do this. And it's never the same. You just chase it and chase it and chase it.
So I recognize at this point immediately when I'm in that thought process and realize I'm lying to myself. So something I'm super aware of is around kind of, I guess, where my most interest is now is a bit on, like, why do I do the things I do? Why do I feel the things I feel? Why do I operate the way I operate? And so trying to figure out a different establishment of where I see my brain and where I see my mind. And so my brain is what I would say is our biology. And what are its presets? What is its operating system? Built on evolution and things like that. So our brains evolved to keep us alive, not tell us the truth.
Oh, wow.
I think I need extra caffeine.
There's just no fucking benefit to us for it to tell us the truth in situations. All it cares about is survival.
Safety.
Yep, which is why it shuts down systems. If you tell it, like, hey, we don't do anything physical, we're going to sit all day, it will happily shut down testosterone and these other things, as well as shorten your hip flexors. It'll adapt. It doesn't give a shit.
You brought up something earlier that I've seen in your content. And again, one of the things that, it takes an existential crisis sometimes to realize certain things.
Of course.
And I never practiced the open concept of gratitude until my father died. Never. Yeah. Because and I had a conversation with a friend of mine this week who's going through the process of his father dying. And he's struggling. And I said, hey, man, the best way I manage this is to have gratitude for having a really cool dad, because not a lot of people had it.
Yeah.
And dude, when I tell you about a mind shift in everything, when something sucks and I don't like it, my brain, I never like the mind and the brain, my brain goes towards whiny little baby who complains that I'm whiny about it. No charge.
Yeah, well, so let's look at things that would be a threat, right? Like, so our brain is set on threat detect. So for us, especially now that we don't have real threats, we still, as we're perceiving the universe around us, whatever we consider to be the biggest threat, we will treat as danger. And so our mind, the psychology, will quickly create a narrative to back it up because ego likes that.
Where it used to be the cat jumping out, the lion jumping out and killing us while we're hunting.
Yeah. I mean, look, so the idea of like survival of the fittest with Darwin and things like that, which I really like and believe that's true and does create some part of evolution, but I don't believe it's the entire story. Mm-hmm. The other half of that story Nietzsche talks about, and it's once survival is no longer a threat, the shift goes to survival of the herd instead of survival of the fittest. So there is nothing to cull the weak multiply faster than the outliers of strong.
Oh, wow. Boy, if we don't see that in society.
I mean, it just is. And so back to what you're saying about existential crisis, and if I'm coming down to gratitude and my own feelings around it, I kind of look at most of, if not all, the problems in my life, and I would say this is a pretty Western cultured thing. All of my problems stem from an inability to manage abundance. Mm-hmm. So existential crisis itself is you have an abundance of time to think about shit like that. Mm-hmm. You're not out hunting food. You're not out defending yourself from an invading army or growing crops or figuring out anything else. You have time. This is one of the first times in history we've ever had it. This is why we're fat. We can't manage the abundance of food for the first time in human history. We have it. I don't have to go get stuff. I can have it delivered. And we will see what people choose to pick as in its convenience. Mm-hmm. We're pre-wired for it. We're pre-wired to want to shut down systems that don't need to be used to conserve energy.
When you look at things like gratitude, obviously you're talking about the concept of abundance. We've had you're right. In this time in human history, we have more than we've ever needed of everything.
At least we ever have proof of.
At least we have ever had proof of, yes, that we've had an abundance of. And do you see a connection between abundance, time, and that minimum effective dose? Like, are we so overwhelmed by the things that we can do that we either can't do at all or we do nothing simply because, like, we're not fighting for survival? So the minimum effective dose almost doesn't exist.
So I think that is a bit further down the road past that than most people get caught at the first spot. Okay. Like the first spot, I guess I would find around like purpose. Like people tend to take action if they have purpose. Mm-hmm. The absurdist idea again is that man is in this constant search to find this purpose that's bigger than himself, and the universe sits silent and doesn't give it to us. And that is the ultimate conundrum. We're looking for this purpose to be handed down from this divine of like, what's the meaning of life? Well, the meaning of life is you choose it. There is no divine purpose. If anything, the divine that's given to you is the consciousness you have. Unlike any other species on the planet, you get to choose.
That actually, man's search for meaning was what I was bringing up. Viktor Frankl, man's search for meaning, is he was in a concentration camp, and he said the only way he managed a concentration camp, and he's very much an existentialist. He said the only reason he figured out day-to-day living in a concentration camp was that he developed a purpose for every day. And what he would do, he'd move, he'd wake up every day and move like cylinders and sandbags and blocks over here to help other people move. So he created a purpose for himself inside that day. I got to get up and do this because that's how we're going to survive. Everybody else just sat around, and he developed a job and a purpose that he did every day so that he could manage the horror of being in a concentration camp through meaning. And that meaning was, I'm going to love the people who are around me so much by doing things for them that becomes my everyday purpose. And I can't think of anything crappier than a concentration camp in 1940.
No, that's pretty lame.
What's that?
It's pretty lame.
Yeah.
But do you think that's what we've lost, or a lot of people have lost, is that like daily sense of purpose? Like we try to align with a purpose that's so great that feels like we can never get there because we don't have daily action steps to a daily purpose.
Well, I'm not sure people ever really set their sights on one. I think there's a lot of inherited purpose, which may be based on the environment you grow up in, your parents' socioeconomic class, what their beliefs are in school, marriage, job, whatever, religion, those type of things. But at some point, if you reach this midlife awakening that most people do, to where you realize, I didn't choose any of that. It also doesn't vibe with me. Yet there's this idea of supposed to. Is that true? And for me, I don't believe any of it is. I don't think anything falls into the supposed to do's. I don't think I'm obligated to do anything. And if I'm not obligated and there isn't supposed to, and I do feel purpose, then that means I assigned it. But what's really important is most people go through all the supposed to's, which is a really good recipe if you don't have the purpose thing. It's like go to college, get a job, get successful, get the house, all these type of things, right? Even if you realize you get to that point of midlife crisis to go, fuck, this isn't it. You still learn the recipe of how to get good at something long term. You still learn how to show up for a long time. You still, it's too much to have someone execute and define purpose at that chapter of life. But once now you have the recipe of how to get from A to B on things, I suggest you pick. And that doesn't necessarily mean I need to burn down my life and do everything different. It may just need to be recalibration of why I do the thing I do. What is the point? Why do I go to work? Why do I have this job? And is this job my purpose, or do I assign it purpose of it provides me income and free time to do things I love with people I love?
Yes, for sure. Yes. Yeah, 100%.
That gets lost on people too. Like, I mean, I would argue a lot of people don't like actually fall in love with their career.
I don't think you have to. And I don't think everybody has to have ikigai, right? Like that whole idea of the overlapping ideas. But I do think you have to decide the purpose. And if your purpose becomes earning an income or being that thing, then you chose that too.
So how would you feel about like somebody who doesn't necessarily love their job? Where are they going to find purpose? Like, do you believe in hobbies? Do you, I mean, I know you're a competitor. Like, how does that work into somebody's life? Where do you find value with that?
Well, I think at some point, like you have to at least examine some of the things that bring you enthusiasm. What is it? What are those things? You know, for me at this point in my life, am I a passionate entrepreneur? Am I want to make apparel? Am I a creative that wants to design shirts or write or do any of this? And kind of at this point in my life, I've really backed it out as far as I can to where my purpose is I want to create for a living. Period. I don't care if that is experience. I don't care if that is things. I don't care if that is writing or books. I don't care. My job is to answer the call of the universe of create.
I like that.
You put
and
a long.
I was just gonna say, I think it took you a little while to get there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 42 years.
Yeah.
I imagine that'll be very different at 52 as well.
Right, exactly.
Another thing I recognize, right? Like I'm not hard fast in saying like, this is it. I'm fucking holding it.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is if I told 32-year-old me what I currently do for a living, he'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And if I told 22-year-old me, even what 32-year-old me was doing, he'd say the same.
Right.
So my guess is I have no idea what 52-year-old me wants to do with his life.
That's like one of the most encouraging things that I see all the time, because I'm 29 and there's always these posts. It's like Morgan Freeman did this at 50 and like J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter at 32. Or it's so encouraging because I think I always tell, you know, my friends or clients that I work with that are my age, I'm like, your 20s are hard. They're really freaking
They
hard.
should be very explorative.
Yeah.
Yes, but they're not the end. Like, I feel like people are like 30 is like the end. Like, I need to have everything figured out. I'm like, that's not true.
That's a societal expectation.
Yeah, it's not true.
It's not
We
true.
might not figure it out for a while.
It's not true, and I don't have any evidence that people do.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, what's the fucking point of the pressure?
Right.
Dude, it's like I talk to high school kids a lot. I deal in a high school environment. And I have kids that'll come to me and they're like, hey, what'd you do today? It's like, oh, we had a college symposium.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, what was that like? And they go, well, they asked me at 16, 17 what I want to do. And I'm like, I hope
You have 10 years before your brain's done developing.
Yeah, I said, I hope you weren't able to answer that. Like, I hope you like, I'm going to go to med school, which is cool if that's what you do. But like, should you have an answer of what you're going to do when you're 18?
I don't know. Maybe I think we should figure out how to figure out or recalibrate our education system and take it away from being such a Henry Ford assembly line of mass production.
100%.
I say all the time, and like, if you would have asked me at 25 instead of 18 what I wanted to do, my answer would be so different, because now I'm interested in learning. Now I like to study. Now I want to learn all these new things, right? At 18, I was like, let me just get through. Like, here's my test, whatever, you know?
And so at 30, I imagine trying to guess about 40 is odd. So
No idea.
if I'm trying to guess 52-year-old me, here's some things I know. Me being physically fit, me being financially stable, me being less reactionary to my emotions, and me being able to follow through on decisions I make will fucking help that guy.
Yeah.
You just ripped those off like you know those 4 things.
Yeah.
Physically fit,
Financially stable.
Less emotionally reactive, and I don't know what.
I forgot what you said too. It just on the tip of my tongue.
So there's 2 things. I've always watched your content from afar mostly because your story's entertaining, bro.
Thank you, man. It's been a lot. It's been a lot to choose to share all of it for this long.
To observe, especially when I knew you when you pulled up to Sornex in a big truck with squat 800 pounds. I'm like, I've never seen a dude that I've never seen that done in my life. Like, that's incredible. And then to who you are now, like it's entertaining to observe. There's been 2 things that you've done that have inspired me. Okay. And I feel like that's important as I get older to tell people who've inspired me. Like, that's a big, like, when people, like, I do a thing now when somebody's pops in my head, I don't care what I'm doing, driving down the street, and I'll be like, whatever happened to that dude? I text him.
Yeah.
Hey, bro. I haven't talked to you in 10 years. What are you doing?
What's up, man?
I do that. And I'm like, and they're like, oh my God, dude, I haven't heard from you forever. And those are little things from the universe that I don't ignore anymore.
Yeah, I do the same. And I send basically, I'll send a video message and just say, hey, man, I was thinking about you for whatever reason this morning. I hope all is well. And if there's anything you need or anything else, I don't need anything back from you. Just congrats on everything that I see going on.
Yeah, and I love doing that, right? So, like, there's 2 things that that you posted right around the same time that I had my brain on it. One, obviously, it's the minimum effective dose. That hit me hard. That was like one of those things, like, for 3 days stuck in my brain and like rattled my brain. I'd be driving down the road and be like, God, minimum effective dose. Matt Vincent. Why is that?
It's pretty anti-American.
Minimum effective doses, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, they're not all you can eat buffets in other countries. Like, we're not a quality over quantity country.
Well, I remember when Bert Soren went to Ireland to throw Highland Games stuff. He came back and I think he went with who's that big blonde head joker that can throw? He does all the funny videos about CrossFit and strongman.
Oh, Dan.
Dan.
Yeah.
And he went over there. Those are 2 large men back then, like 2 big dudes.
Yes.
And large, strong, just testosterone 1500 type guys. And they came back and I was like, how was it? He's like, first thing Bert said was, dude, the meals were really small.
Yep. That's the rest of the world.
He's like, I had to order like 2 entrees at some place.
America's answer is more is better.
Supersize me. Everything.
I don't care if it's extra square footage in my house.
Yeah.
Like, There's some of the stuff that we spend money on that I get more and more fascinated by, right? Like, so this old concept of showing luxury, say like Victorian era, things like that. One of the things you would do would, like, the way that it would be shown or flexed would be, say, the amount of curtains that you have pooling on the bottom when they reach the ground. So like you have so much extra money, you have length for extra curtains that just pool up on the floor. Sign of luxury.
Perfect.
How fucking stupid.
Crazy. Yes.
I find that just as silly as, like, I'd like to spend extra money on the space above my head in my home that I can't use.
Vaulted ceilings.
That makes me feel grand.
15 grand more for vaulted ceilings. Do it.
We have 13-foot ceilings. Oh, incredible.
Awesome.
What do you do with all that?
Great.
Just for the Christmas tree. It's for the Christmas tree.
Do you remember, you're going to say yes. Do you remember the Jim Carrey documentary, Man on the Moon?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. You posed, I watched that over and over and over again for the longest time because
He's great.
something about it spoke to me.
He's brilliant, man.
He was real. He said things in that. I'm like, dude, and I watched it over. Like, I'd watch it in tears. I'd watch it laughing. I'd watch it different kind of emotion. You posted a clip one time of that show right when I was going through it. And he said, if you're going to fail at something you love doing.
Yeah.
And you posted that, and like that was a mind shift for me, dude. Like when I was watching it and then you posted it, I went, well, obviously I need to pay attention to that, right? Because you posted it. And there's another thing, like my big thing in the last 2 years have been 1%. There's been a series of things in my life that I've gone 99% of the way through, but never fit. I'm talking relationships.
I would say I fall in the same category.
Jiu-jitsu, right? The funny thing about jiu-jitsu, like, I was a brown belt for 6 years. Then the 1% thing hit. I went back to training, got a black belt, and I still don't think I've reached the journey. Like I thought the black belt was the journey. And then when I got it, I went, well, I'm so far off from the end. It's ridiculous. Like
I've missed the path here.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I thought it was all about the black belt, and that black belt brought me nothing. Like people that want to go earn $10 million, they earn $10 million and they go,
Well, so how many times are we going to take note of that before we pay attention?
yes.
How many times do I have to use that fake ass carrot in front of my face of once I get X, I'll feel Y?
Yes.
There's a brilliant book on this I do with clients, and it's one of the first. It's called The Gap in the Gain. Gap in the Gain, GAIN. Okay. And so it's essentially talking about scarcity and abundance, mindset, and how to measure progress. So most people spend their entire lives in this place we'll call the gap. And that gap is wherever you currently are right now versus the fake fairy tale fictitious place you think you're supposed to be right now, which is made up on jack shit. It's made up of total bullshit and ethereal nothing. Whereas the truth is you are where you are because of your actions, your reactions, and the complete unique set of life circumstance that only affects you. That's it. I can't argue with that. It is. Some is good, some is bad, but it is none of it personal attack from the universe to slow down my progress. Whenever I do feel that way, I now pivot the thought to this is the universe saying, is this really what you want? Or do you just show up when it's convenient? Or do you show up when it's easy? When the fire's there? Or do you do it when it sucks?
Motivation, when you're motivated.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, how are you going to handle it right now? And man, I've got numerous spots where I've handled situations better at this point in my life that I really feel like the universe hooked me up on the back end for managing. We were heading down to Peru in March. We're going to be down there for like 3.5 weeks. We're going for a week of ayahuasca in the jungle, and then we're going to explore Cusco and check out Peru. And first flight, St. Louis to Atlanta. Get off the flight in Atlanta, haul ass to the next gate to Lima. To get there, I'm like 50 feet from the gate, go to grab my fanny pack, and it's not on my chest. And I immediately, bing, and I'm like, it's under the seat in front of me on the plane I was on across the airport in Atlanta. Best case scenario, it's still there. Like they're closing the door. Like we're not getting on the flight. There is no fixing that, move on.
Okay.
So I just looked at Bonnie. I was like, I left it at the gate. I have to go. If you want to get on the flight, I can meet up with you further, or you want to stay with me. And she's like, I'm with you. I'm like, cool, let's go. So we make our move back to the gate. It ain't there. Check a different gate. It ain't there. Recommend we got to go to baggage claim because one, I ain't going any further without a passport.
Nope.
I'm done. Like there's no solve this.
Yep.
There's no one to call. There's no place I can purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Fucked. And so down to baggage claim, get our bags because they're not going to send our bags through because we didn't check on the flight to Lima. So we got to get our shit and figure out whatever step 2 is now. And we're there long enough, and I'm trying to figure things out. And I remember like being kind of frustrated and in tears and looking at Bonnie and being like, I don't know what the next step is right now. We go back to St. Louis, and we don't do this month we've had planned. And like, there's 8K out of the window. We're invited down to the place in Peru as guests for ayahuasca, and like, oh, we can't manage the travel to get there. Probably not someone I would re-invite. I realize that, and that's on me. And so I'm doing all this in my head and eventually talking to the baggage people again, waiting for Lost and Found. Another lady I just spoke to decides to call a different gate, and they have it. So boom, through the airport, go grab it. Of course, the $2,000 cash I had in it is no longer there, but such is life.
That you knew that.
Oh yeah, like that money, no
that
fucking.
was the cost of getting the bag.
And if anybody would have walked up to me in the last 2 hours and said, "Hey man, for $2,000, I can give you your passport right now," would have done it.
Yeah.
So, there ain't no reason to have a feeling about that one other than thanks, universe.
Mm-hmm.
Solve the problems, get ourselves to Peru, and nonetheless. But overall, I didn't let any of that spill on Bonnie. She's aware that I was being mean enough to myself. I fucked this up. I could try to blame it on the stewardess who made me put my bag under my chair, and that's such a rule they don't enforce all the time, and that's stupid, and I can point it at her, but either way, I put it there. I left it. And when I got up, we were in a hurry, and I was slightly distracted by the man sitting behind me complaining, and I was feeling a bit superior because I'm not bothered by such things.
When was there a time that Matt would have freaked out, blamed Bonnie, got upset, got mad, got pissed at the 2000, worried about the
anything before the age of 35?
Anything before the age of 35. Anything before the age of 35.
I would have damn sure known, everybody would have known how inconvenienced I am and how fucking dare this. This is not how it's supposed to be. This should be solved. How dare they stole my bag, and I would have been pointing the finger trying to do that.
I got crappy luck. Of course this happens to me.
Yeah, this is Atlanta's fault. There's crime in the airport.
Crap place. Anything before the age of 35.
Yeah.
Can you growth is gradual, right? Obviously, like
yeah. This wasn't like a one moment switch that flipped on. This has really come with after years and years of a really consistent gratitude practice.
1% has been in my brain for 2 years, and I actually go back to the Jim Carrey thing.
So a real question for you is: do you ever think that 1% can really be closed?
No, I don't.
Perfect.
I don't. What it told me is that there are a lot of things I wanted to do that I went 99% of the way. That other 1% I was afraid of. And my dad ran the Boston Marathon like 10 times. And he tells me this story. He goes, at 21 miles of the 26, you're 50% of the way there.
Yeah.
And I said, and I didn't understand that as a kid. He goes, because the last 5 miles is the hardest 5 miles you ever do in your life. At 21 miles, you're 50%. Because there's a hill at 21 miles they call Heartbreak Hill. And it's where people go to die.
Yep.
Great 21, you hit the hill, and then you think you got 5 more miles after that hill and your legs are rubber and you're done. He's like, 21 miles is 50% of the way there. And I use that analogy with 99 to 100. 99%, you're 50% of the way there.
I agree. Yeah, there's some part of that. I don't know that you can ever close the other gap, but there's always to be progress made, right? If we're going back to other truths, is destinations aren't real. There is no there.
That's probably, I'll be honest with you, that's probably what I'm missing. I'm missing, for some reason.
It's recognizing, okay, so did either of my 2 world championships in the Highland Games really fucking matter? They don't. They maybe have opened some doors that I get to call myself a world champion, this and that. But it alone doesn't get me in any of the rooms I'm in. What I learned over a decade of lifting in a garage by myself and throwing in a field by myself without someone else's push, that's the magic. Like, that's the gold. I didn't have to talk myself into go training for that sport. I was obsessed.
Ugh.
And so for me at this point in my life, I don't focus on things I'm not obsessed with because I won't do well.
I have a friend of mine who's a high school football coach, and people tell him all the time that he's crazy. Bro, that dude's crazy preparation. That dude's like, dude, he doesn't sleep during football season. Like, they're like, he's just a different.
As long as he loves it, I say pour the gas on.
And I go back to him all the time, and I said, hey, dude, don't let people use the word obsessed like it's bad.
Most people don't have anything.
They're kind of making fun of them because they're like, nobody loves football more than that guy. Oh, you know that guy's probably watching film, and I have to go back to him sometimes and say, hey, dude, don't let them get in the way.
Don't take criticism from people you don't ask for advice. I damn sure don't take advice from the sidelines.
Yeah.
I remember like when I started doing apparel, right? And so like I'm figuring that thing out and I'm nervous about it, man. What do people think of stuff I'm making, designs, blah, 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 especially my peers.
Yeah.
And that's another lesson I learned down the road that was really helpful. And so I started getting input from some people like, hey, man, be careful about sponsoring this person because it may cut you off from being able to sponsor people like this. And there was just blah, 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 blah. Someone else giving me advice of how to run my business. And called up another friend who's done well in entrepreneurship. And I was like, man, like I love this person, so I do respect their message to me. But it does put me in a weird spot because I don't feel it, what they're saying. And their response was like, well, has he ever run a successful apparel company? And I'm like, nope. He goes, tell him to have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. Keep watching from the sidelines, man. Appreciate the input. At this point, the way I would respond with is probably my favorite thing now is I just go, oh, right on.
Right on.
I acknowledge what you're saying, but I don't have to agree, nor do I want to continue this conversation. Right on gives you nothing. Right on.
Right on. It's input, output.
I'm not interested in convincing you. I don't give a shit whether or not you agree with me.
Yeah. Were you looking for validation by sometimes being like, I need somebody to tell me I can do this?
Yeah, I think for some point earlier in my life, I would have been. And there's still probably some areas that I look for it. Yeah. I would say. And there's probably a number of 5 people on earth whose opinion that really would get me.
Yeah.
And it is those people when I make decisions of like, oh, what would they think? It's them. It's those 5 people. It's not the collective they. Mm-hmm. And what I realize about that, and this was another really great example of validation. The first book I wrote would have been like 2011, training lab, stuff for the Highland Games, right? Mm-hmm. So the reason I wrote that is I'd become friends and started hanging out with Windler.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Windler and I hit it off, became friends, a weird guy to make friends with because no one's friends with him. Yeah. And like he's a recluse and Howard Hughes himself into his house and no one sees him. And so we're hanging out, and he's like, hey, I'm creating a little content here and there. I've been writing for Power Magazine and anywhere that'll take shit from me.
Yeah.
Decided I want to write, so I'm just trying. And he's like, are you going to write a book on Highland Games? I was like, I don't know. Why? And he's like, well, if you don't, I'm gonna. Because he'll just put 531 Highland Games.
Yeah, they're put together.
Right? It'd be a great book. It would work great. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna. Like, I just said it right there. I was like, I am. And he's like, cool. And then I went, how do you write a book? And he's like, well, you write articles, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, so figure out your book, make an outline of all the different articles that make that book, and just get to writing articles. And I was like, fuck, that's chewable.
That's what we did, yeah.
And so as I'm doing it, like, I'm like, hey, it's cool if I reach out and get some critique and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, sure. He's like, he's like, really important piece of advice, though. I'm like, yeah. He goes, I'm never going to fucking read your book. And I was like, that's really weird to hear from the guy who just told me I should write it and is a mentor. And he's like, there's no novel information in your book about strength training I don't know. And I'm like, that's true. You have already written your version of this book.
Don't you fall in love with him at that point, though? Don't you fall in love with him? You're like,
dude,
honesty.
And he's like, if you're writing it for me to care, I'm not your audience. I'll never buy it.
Oh, that's what he was saying. That's what
he was saying. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So write it for the people that need it. Write it for a 5-year-old. Write it for not me. None of your peers who you're looking up to that are in your head about will they be impressed with this methodology and how I stack my deload week and any of this other shit. None of them care.
Yeah. Doesn't that language almost make you vomit, though, anyway, when you're like, oh, my God. Like,
it's so focused on details that don't matter.
Oh, God, it's 90% of the people. I got a professional baseball player I just started working with. It's a kid I trained in high school. And, bro, if he tries to offer me money, I'm going to almost feel offended, right? He's a millionaire, but I don't want your money. I love you. I love doing this. I'm invested into you. If you try to give me money, I'm going to tell you to go donate it to the mission.
Okay.
I don't want it.
I want to challenge that.
Okay.
Have you read the book, The Alchemist?
No. I have it upstairs.
Alchemist is a really, really good one.
Upstairs and haven't read it, so now I'm going to have to read it.
It's really good. I've read it a couple times. And there's this fucking great scene. I don't think I'm giving away any spoilers here. There's a scene toward the end where the old man, or let's call the alchemist, decides he's going to make gold. Like, this is the first time in the book he is taking out all the shit and he is making gold from scratch. Mm-hmm. So he takes out his pan and he makes this disc of gold, breaks it into 4 pieces, puts one in his pocket, gives one to the kid who's on this journey with him, the alchemist, essentially his apprentice at this point. And then there's this monk that put him up for safekeeping for the night because people were trying to follow him.
Of course.
And he gives the monk a piece of gold, and the monk says, gives the monk the piece of gold first, and he says, oh, no, this is too much for the generosity I did. And the alchemist leans in and he says, careful what you tell the universe it's worth, that you're worth.
Yeah.
It's listening.
Yeah.
So if the universe hands it to you, say thank you.
Yeah. Don't
talk it out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I can believe that comment. Yeah. I had a conversation with him, and he goes, he's been 3 years in the league now, 2 years, second year. He goes, I said, hey, like in like lower A. He goes, man, there's guys in A baseball that have just as much talent as the guys in pro baseball. They're just as big, just as strong, just as good. I said, what's the difference? There's a 21-year-old kid saying this to me. He goes, it is really hard in baseball to get up every day and do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and not really caring about the result. You could do over and over and then go 0 for 4.
Mm-hmm.
And people, when they go 0 for 4, are going to be like, oh, I got to change something else. I got to change it up. And then they create a new thing. All right, I'm going to do this.
Looking for magic.
over. They're looking for the magic. And I said, what have you done? He goes, I don't think about anything about the result from batting average to hits that day. All I'm thinking about is repeating that day over and over and over. I am in the cage at 7 o'clock in the morning, regardless of how I feel about it.
You know, the pursuit of greatness is boring.
This is a 21-year-old kid, and I went, I wish I had that at 21.
Yeah,
Holy
I did.
I was like, you just said a mouthful in a second. You just said you don't care about the outcome, you only care about the process, and that you're going to do things even though you don't feel like it. I'm like,
I bet he will have to relearn that lesson at various points in his life.
he's gonna, and I hope he does. I hope he
clicks onto it faster, and he's like, "Fuck! This is this thing.
This is what it is.
It's this fucking stupid rule."
Yeah, and I hope it destroys him, and I hope he has to reinvent. I hope he goes, and I told him, I said, buddy, I don't hope for failure on people, but for people I do love, I do kind of hope for some struggle. I do hope.
Well, I don't think there's any way out of it.
Rock bottom.
You know, so that one, right? Rock bottom. So this is a difference I noticed between good and great after coaching as many people as I have, and now kind of getting a taste for like what separates people. Good, you have people that are trying to go from bad to good, and you have people that are trying to go from good to great, and they're a very different approach. Mm-hmm. Getting from bad to good, you can use scarcity, prove them wrong, you can use fear, you can use any number of things to be the fuel to get you to good. But to get to great, that ain't it. To get to great, like I can't wait until there has to be my back against the wall to take action. Otherwise, I either will constantly figure out ways to put my back against the wall, or I wait for something to do so. To go to great is I choose to do those things when things are good and working, right? Like, so gratitude practice, journaling, any of these type of things are tools I use. Those tools really help a lot when I'm at my lowest. Like I feel it. I know the difference. Going for a walk, being outside, finding some proper solitude, meditating, journaling, training, moving, whatever it is. I can't think of anything that helps people when they're weak that hurts the strong. Like if it's a practice that helps people when they're at rock bottom, it doesn't kill those of us who are at the top. Mm-hmm. It typically only amplifies the good.
Is that one of those statements that's almost obvious, but it's not obvious until you hear it?
Well, because I'm operating to get to good enough. I'm trying to solve the problem so that I don't have the problem left to solve. That's a once I get X, I can be Y. There is no destination. So it's I do this because I love it, because it makes me better. And if I say I want to be better, the choice is pretty simple of what I choose to do. I either do the thing to get better or stop torturing myself for not getting better.
Mm-hmm. How do you coach somebody with no destination?
I help them find it, right? So like, let's start looking at things that bring you enthusiasm. Where is our mindset? Where are we stuck? Is there any gratitude practice? How do you perceive the world? So it takes some time to kind of go into self-discovery to figure out what your operating system looks like. Mm-hmm. So what defined your first purpose in life? Was it complete societal norms that your parents and everything else chose for you? Cool. Let's realize that wasn't necessarily true, and let's start picking some new ones. And even if you don't, purpose isn't going to look like this GPS coordinate that you're going to put on the map. It's more like north. Mm-hmm. I'm going that way. Period.
Right.
Whether the universe is going to be on my side or not, and I believe the universe is totally indifferent. I think the universe is out there to take my order. And if it was watching me from a third person perspective and it doesn't know my motivations and it doesn't know what I think and the stories I tell myself or any of this, and it only based my actions on, clearly they would spend their time doing things they love, right? Because otherwise that's counterintuitive. Mm. So I have to then decide, are the things they spend their time doing all day aligned with what they say is important? I want the universe to undeniably fucking know what's important to me.
I love that. So you just basically declare it every single day, what's important to you.
And so when it's shitty and when it's raining and when it's all these type of things are those days that the universe is like, well, how about now? You're still important. Is it still important now?
Mm-hmm. That's always, that like reminds me of, even just in training, the days that you don't want to do it, that's the days that you have your best workout. Every time I go in, I'm like, I don't want to be here. I have a great workout. I'm like, shit, this is why I love it.
So recognizing patterns like that is another thing I do with clients.
Mm-hmm.
So ever been on a walk and felt worse afterwards?
No.
No shit. Ever written in your journal, felt worse afterwards? Ever done gratitude, felt worse afterwards? Ever trained and feel worse afterwards? Like, all right, cool. So now we know things that make me feel how I want to after I do them. I don't need to feel a way to start.
Right.
I don't need to
The feeling I want is on the backside.
I don't feel a way to start.
If I have to wait on motivation to start, I'll be stuck.
Oh,
Right.
Motivation's a fucking crutch of the talentless.
I don't even know if that exists.
No.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some days, but it really is. It's like if you can do the first task of that huge thing that you need to do, like walking in the gym, putting your shoes on to go for a walk, picking up your pencil to write in your journal, like that's the hardest task to me. The rest of it flows.
That becomes that minimum effective dose, right?
Yeah. Boom. Yep.
So why don't I lower the bar completely to now I am at a decision point of putting my shoes on and going outside for 5 minutes is more aligned with who I want to become than not.
I love that.
So I have to do at least that.
Right.
I'm going to do as many things aligned with who I want to become. I don't care the volume or intensity because it doesn't matter. I know better. There's not one single day of effort, work, training, or anything that wins any of the things I want.
I have people.
I can fuck it all up in a day. Getting injured, getting stupid, pushing too hard, not listening to my body, overextending. And same. And when I look at like the same application of athletics that I put toward my mental health, my business, my things like that, right? Like, because how do I stay excited? Well, man, I like being on the gas. I like pushing my business. I like it feeling like hard training cycles. But I also deload. I build in specific deloads the same way I would with my training cycle. I don't train as hard as I can until catastrophic failure and then recalibrate. I get better long term if I show up consistent and don't get hurt.
Yeah.
So that's why you do a week-long trip on ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I love that.
That's more of like a once a year strategy. There's a couple of other things I work in as different deloads, like that's a macro. On a day-to-day basis, now that I've finished building out the van, the all or nothing approach and how that steals joy from people of the doing the thing because it wasn't going to be good enough for some unimaginary whoever that fucking is. Man, I want to go and be in the van all the time right now.
Right.
And it's not always convenient with the way my life works. I have shit to do. And so, well, why can't I drive 30 minutes out of town to a park and work from there all day? Well, so that's a microdose of me going to get an adventure, be outside, be in a new environment, use the flex of I have a van and can work from anywhere, even though it's silly because I'm just across town. But I don't care.
But you're in the
like it's a microdose of solitude. So like one day a week, I like doing that. Putting those different things into place so that I can constantly tune myself up, right? Like it's using the cold plunge every day. It's not the macro dose on the weekend that I spend 3 rounds doing it, or once a month making a big deal with some other people and doing it all together and amplifying it. But it's recognizing these deloads that need to be worked in, and those deloads aren't avoidance. They're less volume. They're less volume so that I come back excited. I'm using those to keep the fire stoked so that I can look back at the last couple of weeks or whatever it would be, the same way I would training, and look at it without my emotions and say, what's going well? What isn't? What are the weak areas that need to be managed? What can we do about those?
We forget about that so much because it is such like a foot on the gas pedal lifestyle that we all live, that we forget that I always tell people, I'm like, that is so productive of you to like go for a walk undistracted. If you need 10 minutes to sit down and not do anything, like that's still really productive of you. And I bet you feel a lot better after doing that versus like sitting on your phone and scrolling for that 10 minutes.
100%. 100%. And so like, I can't lie to myself about that anymore. Like I know tools in the box that make me feel how I want to feel.
Right.
And so, do you want to feel different? If so, push that button. If not, shut the fuck up.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, man. I'm really glad you came on.
Yeah, me
Dude,
too.
I love getting to chat, man, especially with people I have a history of that kind of know me from the before.
I just to end it, you might be not even thought about it, and it's hard to think about this sometimes when you're going through it, but there are a lot of people that watch your story get inspired. And I think that's when you really talk about like purpose, when it's all said and it's all done, and like Matt Vincent's on his deathbed and people come around, to have people walk up to you and go, you really inspired me. Can't think of anything better, bro. Can't think of too many
But
things.
a lot of that's a reflection of me choosing to inspire me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You weren't
That's
thinking
the
about
way it
anybody.
works. Like it creates a lighthouse. I'm not, that's a side effect.
Yeah. It starts with you inspiring you and the lighthouse effect. Oh, wow. Yeah.
But regarding scarcity and abundance, right? Like the only thing that I believe is scarce is my time and attention. I have a finite to give between now and when I'm dead.
Yeah.
And my own kind of coming to realizations of death with my father and any number of things is I realize that things that are really special are temporary. And everything's temporary. My wife, Bonnie, we have X number of hugs, kisses, lovemaking, anything left.
Amen.
I don't know what that number is, but it's X.
That's built into
And so
gratitude.
I want to fill in as many times between now and then as possible doing shit I love.
That's built into gratitude, right?
It's paying attention that it's here now.
Present.
Right. It's knowing that how impactful my father's death was on me and deciding to really lean into creating a more intimate, connected relationship with my mom.
Yeah.
Because if I got that much out of my dad's death, I'll get more from hers.
Yeah.
And it's going to hurt more.
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah.
But loss is a reflection of love. If you limit loss in your life, you'll ultimately limit the ability to love. You know, kind of looked at it, man. My mom's 72 years old. So, I mean, what, realistically, we see each other twice a year. I get to talk to her maybe 18, 20 more times. And I don't like that number, so I choose to do something about it. And I don't know how many I get. And I don't know how many hugs I have left or days I get to chase my dreams or travel or trips or any of this shit. But I know it's all temporary. It will last less time than I do. And when my time comes on my fucking deathbed, I won't beg for more.
I love that.
Hey, I want to end it at that, bro.
Yeah.
Ready to end it. I appreciate you coming on. I look forward to observing more of the journey. And I really appreciate your willingness to put your life out there for others. See, that's risky in itself, right? That's risky in itself. So I thank you for coming on, man.
Dope. Thank you, brother. This has been great.
Awesome.
I love
Yeah,
getting to do
thank
this.
you.
I like getting to speak and share. And it's not lost on me, man, how fucking crazy it is that I get to essentially, the way I look at it, I get to live as an artist. Like it is up for me to experience and travel and then alchemize that into gold that I can share with anyone else.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.